Welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of Jacksonville Zoom at noon meeting. I will now call the meeting to order by ringing the Rotary bell. We have a packed program today. Thank you for all for joining us. During this program, everyone will be on mute, so please feel free to submit questions by utilizing the chat function. I also want to remind you that today's presentation is being recorded. Sean Mulholland is filling in on short notice on today's invocation. Thank you so much, Sean.
Jerry, my pleasure to be able to offer a moment of prayer. Please pray with me. In times of strife, the solace of prayer is a needed respite. We ask for prayers for many challenges that face us today, whether it be weather, whether it be social unrest, whether it be people who are wondering where their next paycheck will come from. We have people that need our support and our prayers. And we ask these times that we look for those people in most need. We look for those people who now need our support more than ever. People that are downtrodden, people that are very anxious. And in times of social injustice, we ask for people to think about their neighbors and those less fortunate. And we ask that you bless the food in which we partake and pray that the poor and the hungry of the world have a greater share of your blessings. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Pleasure, Jerry.
So we have a passing of a loyal member of the Rotary Club of Jacksonville. Mr. Hank Baker has passed away. I'm going to ring the bell and a moment of silence for Mr. Hank Baker. Thank you. Announcements. We tried something new today. Many of you logged on early and were able to network through breakout rooms. Let me know how you like that. If you want us to continue, we may want to do that. We want to try and organize committees that can meet prior to the Zoom at noon meeting. It might be something that you would take advantage of. This week, September 3rd at 5 p.m., Jeannie Terrace is going to hold an online Zoom social. And you need to get with Jeannie and log on to get credentials for that. It's going to be on the website, and there'll be some information about that. Okay. I would like, this is going to be on the Rotary Charity Foundation. I would like to begin by telling a story. 63 years ago in 1957, 9 men from our Rotary Club joined together to create a separate nonprofit organization named the Rotary Charity Foundation. Their leader was Hugh Culverhouse, and following his lead was Mr. I.M. Sulzbacher, William Mills, George Toby, and other well-known community leaders. They were spurred on by downtown shoe store owner, Mr. Spencer Ladd. Their club, our club, has been doing charitable work since 1912, starting with repairing a roof on an orphanage. You will notice that I said they founded the Rotary Charity Foundation, not the Rotary Club of Jacksonville Charity Foundation. It was their belief the foundation would serve all the Rotary clubs in Duval County, and for many years it did just that. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were contributed and distributed to worthy projects and cash-strapped nonprofit organizations, whether it was to fund needy children or put on a set of tires on a worn-out van. Over the years, our club began to take the lead in managing the Rotary Charity Foundation. Later, other Jacksonville area clubs moved on to form their own foundations. This past year, our Charter and Bylaw Committee began to restructure this 63-year-old dream into a contemporary foundation that would be a formal affiliate of our club. It would be renamed the Rotary Club of Jacksonville Foundation Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Those of you who have contributed to the Charity Foundation during the past 12 months are considered members of the foundation by its bylaws. You will receive an email from me after this meeting asking you to review the proposed restated Articles of Incorporations and bylaws, and then vote your approval as recommended by our board of directors. The email will have instructions on about where to read the governance documents and how to vote online. We will announce the results of these proposed sweeping new changes at our September 14th meeting. Our President-elect designee and membership chair, Jim Agee, will introduce today's newest Rotarian.
Thank you, President Jerry. It's my pleasure to introduce to the Rotary Club of Jacksonville our newest member, Liz McCoy. Liz is the Executive Director of Friends of Hemming Park. And Liz McCoy's lifelong passion for the arts started at age 14 on her first professional theater tour. From there, she attended Florida State University's well-regarded musical theater program, which helped her launch her career in New York City. Although she quickly found she was more interested in working behind the scenes. She was an associate producer on Broadway and touring shows such as Jekyll and Hyde, Annie, the 30th anniversary tour, Sweet Charity with Molly Ringwald, and Rent. In association with Nickelodeon, Liz produced the touring productions of Blue's Clues Live and Dora the Explorer Live, giving more than 5 million young fans their first theatrical experience. Internationally, she's co-produced the Italian production of Chicago, the musical, as well as the Irish musical group Celtic Woman. After a few decades of living in New York City, Liz set her sights on moving to Jacksonville, where she had often vacationed. In 2013, she joined ASM Global as the director of the Times Union Performing Arts Center and the Ritz Theater and Museum. In 2016, ASM promoted her to general manager of a large amphitheater in Cary, North Carolina. Although the excitement of presenting legendary artists like Paul Simon, Willie Nelson, and the Lumineers was fantastic for her, she missed Jacksonville so much that she returned to helm Friends of Fleming Park, which is now James Weldon Johnson Park. She loves the welcoming atmosphere of the park and the opportunity to bring music, art, and culture to downtown in an environment that all can enjoy. In her spare time, Liz enjoys her Seminole football and basketball teams. We'll see how much we get to see of that this year. And she also enjoys all the things she could not easily do in New York City, such as camping, hiking, and kayaking. Her performances these days are limited to impromptu dance parties in her own living room with her husband, Brian, and their son, Frank, who, as you can imagine, with a young child, rolls his eyes, and their dog, Thelma, which keeps time by wagging her tail. Liz, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, everybody. I really welcome this opportunity to be a part of the Rotary, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. Is our tradition in our club whenever we have a new member, and just to remind all of us how we're guided, we're all going to say the four-way test together. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you very much, Liz. Welcome. We're excited to have you with the club and can't wait to we can meet in person and get to know you better.
Welcome, Liz. Rotarian Howard Wanamaker served as commanding officer of the Naval Air Station Jacksonville from 2013 to 2016, after serving more than 26 years as the United States military. He worked as the Chief Strategy Officer and Human Resources Director for Hanania Automotive in Jacksonville, Florida for 3 years. He now serves as the County Manager for Clay County. I will introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, President Jerry. I'll start off with a quote. Today's students are the innovators and pioneers of the future. Shouldn't we all dream big, Florida? With everything that's going on with regards to Space Florida, Space Force, and our initiatives to return astronauts to the surface of the moon and Mars here in the future, how great is it to have our guest speaker today to talk to us about STEM 2 Hub in Dreaming Big. STEM 2 Hub, or specifically the Northeast Florida STEM 2 Hub, is an active aggregator between educators, corporations, policymakers, funders, community nonprofits, researchers, and community leaders in developing and refining local STEM vision in Baker, Clay, Duval, Flagler, Nassau, Putnam, and St. Johns County. Wow, what ahead and what the tasks ahead for that. Our guest speaker today has started out, it's not listed on her LinkedIn, I noticed, but she did start out in contracting with the DoD. And most recently, in the years past, she was a school teacher in Orange Park for 3 years. She worked her way up through the Clay County School District and was the STEM and Instructional Support Services Director. And then she joined Northeast Florida Regional STEM 2 Hub. She worked her way up there from Program Director to Executive Director. She has a doctorate with a focus on human capital management and administrative leadership. And her background and skill set make her uniquely positioned to develop and forward-thinking programs addressing 21st century needs. Fellow Rotarians, please join me in giving a warm Rotarian welcome to Dr. Kathleen Schofield, the Executive Director of Northeast Florida Regional STEM 2 Hub. Kathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I couldn't be more excited. As Howard said, I started in Clay County School Districts where I taught and moved to the district office. And when I moved to the district office, one of the first things that I noticed was a lack of robotics and STEM programs. And I knew that that was where the jobs were going to be, that the world around us is filled with sensors, it's filled with robots, artificial intelligence, machine learning. All these things are encounters we have in our everyday life, yet we weren't really addressing them in our schools. And I was incredibly fortunate to come across an opportunity with the Department of Defense education activity to bring some grant funding into Clay County schools that were specifically targeting our military connected students. And at that time, that was about 2012, we were so fortunate to receive our first grant over $2 million. And we started a STEM program for tens of thousands of children. And year after year, the Department of Defense continued to support that work. And we developed other programs that led Clay County really to the lead in our state of developing a cutting edge STEM program. And I can't be more thankful than to have the opportunity to talk to you today, especially about Dream Big Florida and some of our other partnerships. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to share a presentation that I prepared for you called Dream Big Florida. And I wanted to mention our mission. Our mission is really to stand in that gap between the demands of the work, the 21st century skills, and what we're teaching in our schools. So whether that means we're diving in and creating courses and helping drive policy so that there's equitable access for all learners, or whether we're sitting on the carpet coding with kindergartners, which happens to be my personal favorite, we are here to make sure that economic development is at the heart of our work and that we're bringing to the business community what's needed in terms of the skills the children have. So what does that look like? It doesn't look like changing the concepts we're teaching. It just looks like changing the tools. And as you can see in this picture, we've got young children, 4th graders in school learning to wire up using breadboards and Arduino boards and things you might not even heard of, but those are things that are how invention happens and how people prototype. And so we're making sure kids are learning these skills and learning about these tools while they're learning their science concepts and their math concepts. And we were very fortunate that we were able to build a partnership with an organization called Code.org. And we started that right here in Clay County when I was at the district. We were the first in our state to partner with them. And now that partnership has spread all across our 7-county region and beyond. We've now got 5 regional partners in our state, and we've recently extended all the way out to the end of the Panhandle to help rural children receive critical training in computer science. And you can see by the graph there, you can't really read it too closely, but you can certainly see that it is going in the right direction. And those are children right here in our region who are now proficient in advanced placement computer science. So we're really, really proud of setting the underpinnings that children need to be successful in the workforce ahead. And in Clay County schools, they put out a challenge for all students and all schools to participate in the Hour of Code. And that was so successful. We had 27,000 Clay County students participate, and every school shared their story. And we took those stories and those wonderful pictures of our children, and we shared in this little booklet with the whole state to help inspire others to introduce coding early to children. We've also shared globally. Last summer, pre-pandemic, of course, we took 30 educators, with the bulk of them being from Clay County, out to Microsoft. And we spent 2 weeks there learning these critical skills. And actually, our group invented 2 things that are currently being taken to market by Microsoft. So we believe strongly in working through partners, and we believe in sharing our successes. So acting locally and thinking globally is our approach. We're part of a community of practice that extends to those dots that you're seeing on this map. And it also extends now into 7 other countries, including Africa, Mexico, Israel, Egypt, and others. So it's very, very exciting to learn the best things going on around our country and the world and bring them right back here to Northeast Florida. One of those programs is called Chief Science Officers. And I'm proud to say that every single one of our Clay County secondary schools has a Chief Science Officer to be the student voice and advocate for not just STEM education, but specifically for jobs and what's available here in our economic region. And the pandemic, while it's presented challenges, we have taken our in-person experiences and we've brought them to the virtual world. And I can just tell you, I spent nights and weekends packing up bags of items that look like the things you see on your screen to get them out to students all over the place so that hands-on learning and experiences could continue. And you could just see a Zoom from one of our summer camps where kids were learning to use that breadboard to light up a circuit. So we've been able to really adapt, and I think even have a broader,
Andrew's got one.
Even have a broader impact than we might have in the regular setting, because we could reach so many more by working online. We work on closing the digital divide, and we reach out to our business partners to donate end-of-life computers so that we can get them into the hands of children who don't have a computer. And that's been extremely critical, as you know, with education and this pandemic. And I'm so thankful to the PGA Tour and Florida Blue. They donated 500 computers from the tour, and Florida Blue paid for them to be refurbished. And we got them into the hands of children, working with the partner organizations that you can see on the list here. Chief Science Officers got one. We were so pleased to bring computers to every girl at the Clay County PACE Center for Girls, and out to Wilkinson Junior High School to 50 students who really needed a computer. So we're working to empower students with a computer and training on how to use that. and that's an ongoing project for us. But the real reason why I'm here today is to talk about Dream Big Florida and the space economy. And you can see that space is the next frontier. So we've partnered with the Club for the Future, which is a nonprofit that was founded by Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin. And what their mission is to get kids thinking about the jobs for the future. And when Joseph Renke, who works now for the Club for the Future, came to me and told me he was no longer with Microsoft, but now with this nonprofit, we started to talk about what was possible and how could we get every child involved, because we want all that innovation and all those ideas to happen here in our local economy. We want the jobs to come here, and we want to inspire kids to think about what it might be like to live and work in space, which is not too far away, shockingly, 2024. So I'm going to show you, I could talk about it all day, but I'm going to show you just a little video clip of a pilot that we had done over the summer, where we've gotten children to share their dreams on a postcard. And you'll see a face that I know you're familiar with, Michaela Buchanan from the Education Foundation, because we've partnered with Michaela and the Ed Foundations across the state. So I'm just going to show you this brief video so you can see some of the dreams of our students.
The Dream Big Florida project is just that, an opportunity to get Florida students from all corners of the state together, even if they're far apart, and dream big. There's never been a better time than now to bring such a positive and unifying message to students. Whether they're distance learning or brick and mortar, all students will have the chance to send their vision for space to microgravity. What a great way to inspire student creativity and innovation.
In the future, I imagine we will take ways of living, such as construction and cooking from Earth, and use them on the moon. And new discoveries on the moon back to Earth, and apply them to our everyday life, said Ava M.
My vision is to build assembly buildings for rocket companies on the moon.
My vision for the future is the creation of a machine that can take air pollution and turn it into oxygen. I greatly hope that this reduces global warming. Tanya F.
My vision of the future is where humans will be able to live on lots of different planets and finally discover how to travel at the speed of light, like in the movies. Also, even more amazing things like being able to work in space as a doctor or be a teacher and be able to actually take your students to all the different planets in the solar system. As we keep learning more about our universe, the possibilities are endless.
I think the future will have giant skyscrapers and flying cars. In the future, I want to be a NASA engineer and build spaceships.
This is your opportunity to dream big, Florida. We can't wait to see your ideas.
And I apologize, I was watching those wonderful student postcards going by. And Howie, thank you so much for texting me that you were not seeing what I was seeing. Oh,
The STEM to Hubs partnership with Microsoft has been a game changer for the area.
Now it's wanting to
Targeting
show
our
you
many
even
military
more. Okay, I just love technology sometimes. So Dream Big Florida is exactly what you heard and saw a little of. Students, every school in Florida now is receiving a packet with a postcard for them to fill out and draw their vision of what life would be like to live and work in space, or their innovative idea, and then write a little bit about it. They're sending those postcards to the Texas launch site of the New Shepard rocket, and Blue Origin is bundling them up, sending them up into space, and bringing them back as space mail. They will stamp them flown in space and get them back to students in the spring. And then we'll have contests to identify the best ideas, And some of those will even end up on the space shuttle with the astronauts who live there on the NASA calendar. So it's an incredible project and an amazing opportunity to set us apart as the leader in the space industry. And we have support of the Department of Education, of NASA, of the JAX Chamber. Daniel Davis is on Space Florida, and he made us a wonderful video that students will be seeing. And we now feel that just with where that economy is going and the economic potential, we want our students to dream big and come up with their ideas. And we want to use that to help position Florida as the place for all this innovation. So thank you. And I would be happy to take a question or two if there's any time left.
So if you have questions, well, here's a question from Mike Biagini. He says, have you looked at partnering with Cecil Space Program for horizontal launches?
I have not. And if I could on the side get a contact for you, I would love to discuss that and learn more about what's possible. Our goal is to bring business and school together and really inspire ideas. I would eventually like to see even a new science fair category added for space innovation and have the winner be able to send a payload up to space. So I welcome that idea. Thank you.
So this question is from Jim Firth. He says, can you please comment on the status of budgets and time allowed in school curriculums for STEM education?
That's a great question. And the state of school right now, as we all know, is in great flux because of the pandemic, because of the state budget, and so on. So over the past 2 years, the STEM 2 Hub, has had an appropriation that our Representatives Cummings and Senator Bradley and Senator Aaron Bean have sponsored for us. And with those funds, we have been able to invest in getting robots into our schools, getting computer science education, getting thousands of teachers trained in the ability to instruct in computer science. And so over the past couple of years, we've built a bunch of foundational things with some of the equipment and with the training teachers need to do this. The time is challenging because we know that there were great instructional gaps that happened because of school essentially being shut down and online since the pandemic began in March. So we know that everyone is under the crunch of time to catch up in literacy and mathematics and in basic science. But what they've learned through the past 2 years is how to take very engaging STEM work, use new tools, and teach that content with a different set of tools. And you probably have gathered, we have a pretty deep partnership with Microsoft. And when they learned that our appropriation had been vetoed, just like when the governor had to veto the $1 billion of local projects, Microsoft actually sent me over $50,000 worth of materials so that I can continue getting materials into the schools and into the hands of students. And the kind of things they sent me are the low-cost items. These are Arduino boards, breadboards, little other chips, things that can go in there, and then with cardboard and tape, we can have children doing things still, like building a robotic hand that actually, I've got my visuals here, actually can connect up, and when the child squeezes their hand, when this is wired up, the students will be able to see the technology. They'll be able to live stream data into Excel, and they'll be able to learn math that way, science that way, and data literacy. So we really believe that STEM holds that promise to cover a lot more content while you're having experiences like this.
So this question is from Bill Sorensen. He asks, screen usage is necessary for coding, but a lot of research suggests that intense screen usage can be detrimental to young children. Do you consider this in your programming?
Absolutely. And that is the reason why we're very big on bringing multiple ways of coding and developing that computational thinking into education. So for instance, there's absolutely zero screen time in building this setup that I just talked to you about. And the code that's there when they stream it is the only time they're looking at the screen. We've also brought a lot of robotics into the schools, and again, minimal amount of time programming the robot, a lot of time building and troubleshooting their code with seeing, does the robot do what I thought it was going to do? And if it didn't, how do I fix my code to do that? We've also found that there's a lot of what we call unplugged lessons, where they're doing things that mirrors and mimics what the coding would look like without actually coding. So last year, for instance, the Hour of Code had a dance party theme. So really, we know that a loop is a series of repeated steps. And so by choreographing and dancing and moving, we're simulating what a loop would look like in a computer program. And if we were able to be in person, I would actually have everyone stand up and we'd walk through an unplugged computer science activity so you could see how we can really code without excessive screen time. So that means you'll either invite me back or you won't because you're afraid I'm gonna make you dance.
Well, I will invite you back. I don't know about the dancing, but we'll invite you. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate your opportunity to hear from you. It sounds like an exciting.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Our club is a strong club and we need volunteers. We would like for you to continue to work within the club and through our committees. We're trying to get our committees organized and get more things going forward. To those people who are on the project and screening committee, we have a district grant seminar Wednesday at 5 p.m. that most of you will need to attend. If you were involved with the Hubbard House project, or whether you're involved with the Youth Crisis Center project, please follow up with me and make sure that you are part of the district seminar, which is going to take place online this Wednesday at 5 p.m. We also have a club social organized by Jeannie Terrace. That'll be this Thursday at 5 o'clock. We'll have more information available on the website. We have a district seminar scheduled for October 24th, and we will post more information about that as it becomes available. Committee chairs, if you've not had the opportunity to communicate, please communicate with your committees. Please review your committee list on DACTV and make sure we know who's on your committee, and those people who aren't, who want to, we'll get them on. If you need to host a meeting and want to do it through Zoom, we'll be more than happy to help you do that. Thank you for being with us today. We encourage you all to stay engaged. We will not be meeting next week because of Labor Day, and we will be meeting next on September 14th. And we'll be hearing from Bob Arablo, our member, who's the president of the Florida Iceman hockey team. And he will be discussing returning to sports after COVID and how it affects the game. That concludes today's meeting. Thank you so much for joining us. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.